Gutted you guys didn't get to see that. It was hands down the coolest task we did. So lots of you want me to talk about Jay. One huge difference between what you see on the TV and what actually happens in real life is... Hi guys, so today I'm going to do a video on the bits that you don't see on SAS Who Dares Wins. I'll do that a bit later, but first I'm going to train. I think I'm going to do 1 rep max power clean maybe, and then I've got some gymnastics drills to do, and then after that I think I'm gonna do Diane maybe, which I haven't tried in quite a while. My handstand push-ups have hopefully improved, but gymnastics is my weakness, so we'll see how it goes. So this is 75 kilos, no, this is 80 kilos, which is, what is that? So this is 80 kilos, which is 95% of my current 1 rep max, and it's feeling pretty okay at the moment. Fingers crossed for a PB. So this will now be 85 kilos, which is my current 1 rep max, and I think the last one I got quite a high power clean. So obviously power clean is anything above parallel, and at the moment I think I'm standing, so hopefully if I squat a little bit I can get PB. Current PB time. So this lift will be a PB, it's 90 kilos if I get it for a power clean. My current 1 rep max squat clean is 100 kilos, so it should, I think I should have it. Don't know though. If it pins me into a squat, sometimes I just sit down, which means it won't be a power clean, so we'll see how it goes. So that was definitely a squat clean. I don't think I can count that as power clean. But my 1 rep max squat clean is like 100 kilos, so I'm going to try and go for a PB anyway with my power clean. So I put 87 on the bar just to see if I can get a PB. So I got a PB, so a little one, but it's still a PB, which means, I think it means my technique's improving, because I got pinned in the squat on the 90 kilos, and I think that means I need to squat more, because my glutes are notoriously weak, so yeah, more squats for me, but I'm pretty chuffed. Come on, babe. Yeah, easy. Yeah. We're about to, well, I don't think you've not done Diane before, have you? No. Mine's not done Diane before. He's about to do Diane for the first time ever, and I'm gonna reattempt it. I think last time I did this, I got a did not finish because of the handstand push-ups, because gymnastics is my weakness, because obviously I used to be heavy, so gymnastics has taken me the longest because it's hard to do gymnastics when you're heavy. We'll see how it goes today. I'm gonna try and not be too hard on myself because they are my weakness. Let's see. Oh, and also I'm scaling them because I don't think I could do it. I can do handstand push-ups RX, but I think, is it 45 in Diane?
Reps, yeah.
45 reps. 45 handstand push-ups. RX is pushing it for me. I don't think I've never done that much before, so I'm scaling. There's nothing wrong with scaling. So there's my setup. Oh, that's full on, like, that's what you do in a qualifier. These are my weights. My name's Beth. Right, let's go. So my camera died. I forgot to take a spare battery with me. I will try not to do that again, but at least you saw a little bit of the workout anyway. I didn't end up finishing Diane because my wrists were a little bit tight. I did mention it during the cleans, and it was just like aggravated and started to swell up and made a bit of a pop. But I don't think it's injured, I think it was just too tight. It just didn't feel safe to continue the handstand push-ups. Yeah, I feel like I did alright. So anyway, let's get on with the SAS chat, and I'll let you know all of the stuff you didn't see on the show, like what happened sort of behind the scenes and what the secrets are really. So I did get quite a few questions back in about my experience on SAS. If you haven't seen my Q&A yet, I'll put a little link here for it. Go and have a look at that video. I talk about a lot of the things that, like the main questions that people ask me. So I talk about the fight, about the food, all of the challenges and stuff that you saw on the TV. But in this video, I'm going to talk about the stuff that you didn't see. So this is a little peek at what really happened. I'll start at the beginning. With the whole process, a lot of people assume that you like know really early on and they give you a date and you go off, but actually it's such a long process. It took up my whole year really. So it must have been about February 2019 when I applied, and after that point we had to do the fitness test, and then after I passed the fitness test, so I got first time, passed everything. It was like a 10.3 bleep test I think, press up, sit up, lift a platform, that kind of thing. And then after that we had to have like a face to camera interview. So one thing you probably don't know is that the interviews that you see, the clips that go with the activity, and then there's a clip of us talking. The clip of us talking is filmed before the show even happens, like a month before, and they film us for 3 hours. So, and we say so many different things. They ask us all of the questions under the sun. They obviously know what's going to happen. We have no idea. We just answer their questions. So, and then they stitch the storylines together from that. So that might give you a little bit of an insight. It's just, yeah, it's not, I thought that they were filmed after the show, you know, like how reality TV normally happens, where you like, they do an activity and then they talk about it afterwards. That's not how it works on SAS, so that was like, mind blown. That was quite a big process in itself. And then after that we had loads of telephone conversations. Myself, because I've obviously got bipolar disorder, I had to have probably about 7 hours worth of psychological assessments just so that they could like deem me fit to go on the show. Because I guess, and I think it's a good thing, they're like super worried that people are gonna have like a negative effect from being on the show, like to them mentally. And obviously I was quite a high risk participant because of the bipolar disorder, but obviously I believe that that makes me stronger, and that's one of my strengths. So that's something that I had to go through. I also had to go up to London to have a little test done, and everybody had to go through this. So we had a Vo2 Max Test just to make sure we're not gonna die. In that they do like an ECG and a couple of other things. They rig you up to like a mask and put a load of things on you. It's quite cool. I really like doing that, but I love like fitness testing kind of things. And then I had like another like 3-hour psychological assessment. Brilliant. So you probably don't get to know about that. And then when we actually were going to go to film, the day we were supposed to leave, our taxi was like supposed to arrive at about 6 AM, but it didn't turn up. And me and Ellie obviously were in different houses. We were like messaging each other like, the taxi's not arrived, maybe this is it, we're not actually on it. That was really weird. So like we weren't even confirmed up until like the last minute. They were like, oh yeah, but you didn't really know. And I know there are people that were pulled last minute, so you've got no clue really. So then we got driven by taxi to the airport and we went to Bristol. So they took our phones off us as soon as they met us at the airport, and we were with people, we weren't allowed to talk to them. They even separated us when we went on the aeroplane. Like we had to sit in different seats. Even me and Ellie weren't allowed to sit next to each other. We were sat there with like, I had my like compass guide that they'd provided us with out and I was like reading through it, trying to absorb as much information as possible because we had nothing else to do. And we had like somebody that looked after us. She was really lovely. She gave me like all the food I needed and everything, but it was super weird just so like I didn't have my own money. I wasn't allowed to go and like buy a coffee or whatever. I had to go and ask somebody. That was strange. So all of our personal belongings were taken away pretty much straight away. and then we were put into a hotel where we had to stay for several days until they called us so that we could go and do the show basically. But we didn't know, they just woke us up at like, I think it was about 3 AM. I think we might have been told actually what time we were getting up, but yeah, they came and like knocked on our door and we all had to go out, and then we walked for like miles down this street and then got to like a bus, I think. Oh no, it's like a bus stop. And then they were like being really cagey about what we were doing and where we were going. And then these boats arrived, like speed boats just on the water. So yeah, and then we had to get into these like massive like military style rig speedboats, which you only see a little bit of at the start of the show, but we were actually in those like most of the time. Probably one of the first things you really don't see is we were based in like the mainland bit. I can put up like a thing of where we were based, and then we travelled all over the island. So they shuttled us with these speedboats, and it could have been like an hour, a couple of hours in a boat, freezing cold, and you're wearing wet clothes already because obviously our clothes were always wet. So you didn't see the endless boat rides that we had to go through, and that for us was like mental toughness really, because you were constantly cold and just had like gale force winds blowing at you, which is a bit mad. Oh yeah, so the first time I saw the DS, you didn't actually see the first time we saw them, I don't think, because Ant and Foxy, I think they may have been on the shore. I don't think Foxy was with us, but Ollie and Billy got onto our boats, and I think it was it Ollie? Yeah, it was Ollie. I was like, because I'm like, I naturally smile, and I especially when I'm nervous, I'm just a bit like, my resting face is like a smile. And as soon as he got on the boat, he was like, what are you smiling at? Obviously with more swear words. And yeah, so I got told off straight away, and I'm like, oh, sorry. And I just tried really hard not to smile for the rest of the time, because obviously they think that it's like me not taking it seriously, but I'm just a naturally smiley person, so can't really help that. Yeah, got told off for smiling straight away. I think I was the first person to get told off, which was hilarious, but it's like, this bodes well. And then we got on the boat and we went towards the first task, which was jumping off the speedboat. So yeah, go back and watch that, and then you'll see that, so Ollie and Billy are on the boats with us by that point, so we'd already been told off and like travelled for like 2 hours on the boats by then anyway. Yeah, so I think there's a huge difference between what you see on the TV and what actually happens in real life. Is a lot of the time it's like Foxy, Billy and Ollie, they like kind of run a lot of the tasks, like you're with them quite a lot, and they like do all the like training stuff with you, all the safety things that you need to know before. And then Ant is like almost a figurehead that kind of comes out when there's like a TV bit to do, I guess. Like when you see us all line up on the platform, like Ant kind of comes up then. So I guess we got to see a lot more of like Foxy, Ollie and Billy, so I think we warmed to them a little bit more, although obviously they were like shouting at us the whole time, but you just saw them more regularly. So, and then Ant would come out occasionally to like demo like one of the tasks, and that's when we would see him, and then scream at us obviously when we were doing well or badly or whatever. So like at the top of the mountain, I think a lot of the show you see is like Ant sort of the headliner, but for us I think it was more, yeah, like we saw a lot more of the other guys, so it was kind of different watching it on TV to how it is in real life. It was very unusual. Some of the funny stories that happened, like obviously we weren't laughing and joking, there wasn't really anything going on, and I was told off every time I smiled anyway, because they didn't really seem to like that. But there was this one time where we were like heading down towards the boats, and I think it was Billy and Ollie again, or it might have been all three of them. They were like, for some reason, I was like trying to be really serious all the time, like trying not to smile, and I was getting really confused because they were like, oh, tell us a joke, like sing us a song, entertain us, and I'm like, I'm so confused, like I've been told this whole time that I need to take it more seriously and stop smiling, and now you're like asking us to tell you a joke. But I think that was them trying to like mess with us. They're like, we're gonna tell you off for smiling, and now we're gonna get you to like entertain us, like see if we can sort of switch in and out of emotions, and that's something that I really struggled with, because I'm like, I don't know what's expected of me. I was just trying to like do the thing the way they wanted me to do it. I guess I was sort of seeking their approval and trying to fit in, but I don't do that very well. I'm quite a loud personality sometimes, so yeah, that was really funny. And then there was a couple of like, Foxy particularly could be really funny with his comments, although I found them quite challenging sometimes. He would just make like witty remarks or like little digs at you, and you're like, oh, that one hurt. But yeah, like, oh, he told me I looked like a drowned rat at one point. I was just a bit taken back by that. I was like, oh, that's a bit weird. I'm kind of thinking about trying to get a log up a mountain. I wasn't really worried about how I look, but you know, it was just a bit, it just kind of threw me. I guess, again, that's what they're trying to do. But yeah, some of the remarks were just funny. And like, you wanted to laugh, but you kind of couldn't laugh. You had to like act like they'd really sort of, they've got to you, or you had to be really serious. And I just struggle being, well, as you may gather, I kind of struggle being fake in any way. I'm like, I am me. So yeah, I really struggled trying to pretend that I was hating everything, because I really wasn't hating everything. And I loved like a lot of the tasks. Actually, that brings me on to another point. Yeah, so next point, one massive thing that you missed was we did an abseil out of a helicopter. It was so cool. It was probably, it's one of the coolest things I've ever done in my life. It was mad. And I heard the reason you didn't see it was because the footage was messed up or something. Maybe, I don't know, like the weather was pretty bad. It could have been something to do with that, or maybe they just cut the task out of the filming because it didn't work. I don't know. And like Elise went during that section, so like shout out to Elise, because I think they didn't show her exit, which I think really sucked. That was quite savage, I think, and they were gonna make us go out and swim about a mile, and she was just like, I'm done. And I think that was fair enough, because it was quite a distance. So yeah, it sucks that that happened to some people. But yeah, so you really missed out on the helicopter abseil. And so I had to stand on the outside of the helicopter, and then it took off, and then so we were like circling the sea, because we were abseiling over the sea, and then I got to stand on the outside, and Billy, in like one little moment, just let me like just take it all in, which I thought was really nice of him. That was like the one moment I had to enjoy the experience. But yeah, so I was just looking at the view. I'm not scared of heights, so that was amazing. And then I really loved abseiling as well, because I'm an adrenaline junkie, so that was fun. I'm kind of gutted you guys didn't get to see that, because I think it was hands down the coolest task we did. One thing that really sucks for me is there were loads of recruits on there, loads of my friends that were in the show, and they were such a big part of it for me, but they weren't shown at all, which is just mad, really. Like, if you go on a show like that, it's absolutely brutal, and some of them got really far, like close to the end. So Miles, he was like hilarious the whole time, so funny, such a funny guy, and he was like the life of like well, not the house, but the barn, the life of the barn. And then yeah, like at the end, for some reason, he just wasn't really shown that much, which really sucked. And like I said, like at least, but yeah, so there were people that were cut that you didn't see, and you didn't get to see their stories. And personally, I just feel like the series should be much longer so that they can show all of these little things that happen. And then there was another really funny moment actually with Mark. You might know him as Civil War. So we were like waiting for the lights to go off, because we wanted to try and get some sleep, which we never really get. And then for some reason he started like doing the like striptease song, and he like pulled the end of his sock off, and it was like the end of the like da 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 da, and the lights went off like that as his sock came off. It was hilarious. It was like, we were really hoping they'd show that on the telly, but they didn't. And then so Chris, one of the guys that you saw, that I think it started with him anyway, he had quite like a northern accent. I don't know what it is, but my family are all northern, so I kind of do this funny northern accent sometimes. But yeah, like we had this stuff called toe talc, which is like it's just like to help medicate your toes when they're all getting like infected and sweaty and horrible. And for some reason everyone was saying toe talc really loudly. Toe talc. And that was like in Chris's accent, but he was just hilarious. And again, that's another thing, like he was so sweet and like helping everyone out, all that sort of stuff. And you didn't get to see that. You saw the storyline of him being a bit aggressive, which for us was not Chris at all, which was a bit mad. Yeah, there was people that just left, and I wish you got to see more of them. So, but if you want any of them to come on here, give me a shout and I'll see if I can get somebody on for like an interview. We could do like a Zoom one or something. Or maybe like some of them that live down here, they could actually come on. So some of you have asked how I coped with my bipolar disorder and being on the show. I've already mentioned that I had a lot of psychological evaluations, but and I'm fine. I'm completely stable. I manage my mental health perfectly well. And one of the main things that helps me manage is exercise, and I knew there would be a lot of exercise, so actually I didn't really struggle at all. And I had a feeling that they may have used that as like my storyline, if you know what I mean, but yeah, they didn't. So, and I'm not gutted about that, but I personally believe that because of my struggles that I've had with my mental health, I believe that I'm a stronger person because I've felt the worst you can feel and I've come back from it, and I think that makes me stronger than somebody that maybe hasn't been there. So if anything, I think having bipolar disorder helped me. So lots of you want me to talk about Jay, which I guess is not a surprise. Like, he was the new guy on the series. He was the mole, and obviously my storyline and his linked well quite a lot because obviously I had to fight him. A lot of you have asked whether he was like nice and genuine, like during the time we were there, whether that was an act or not. So he was lovely. Like, I would have considered him one of my really good friends on the show. Me and Ellie and a couple of others all hung out with Jay quite a lot, and then obviously I realised, like mainly after watching it back, actually I started to question things. I found out that obviously he was sort of positioned with us. It made me question myself whether, because I felt like we were genuine friends and it made me question whether that was actually true. Quite honestly, I'm not really sure. I'd like to think that he is that lovely genuine guy. I've only spoken to him like a little bit on Instagram. Obviously he's a really busy guy, so that makes total sense. But yeah, I sadly I can't really answer that question because I don't know him that much outside of the show, and I don't know whether that was an act. It might have been an act. He might be a completely different person. Obviously he's not a window salesman, so yeah, he's got a completely different life than the life that he told me about. So maybe the way he was acting was, yeah, fake. I don't know. I don't like to think people as fake, but obviously he was playing a role in the show. He was doing his bit and he played that part very well, so it could have been that how he was behaving was fake. But each to their own at the end of the day. I think he's a pretty cool guy. I don't have anything against him. Yeah, I would like to know whether whether we were genuine friends or whether he was just there to collect information for the whole time, or whether he would have been the way he was with me had he not been trying to collect information. I don't know. So some of you have asked like what kind of effect it had on my body. And if any of you are CrossFitters out there, imagine like DOMs you get after a competition and then imagine that every single day and having to get up and train again and again and again for several weeks. Like it hurt. The DOMs were real. It was, yeah, very painful. All over body aches every single day. You're doing stuff that you never really do. You're training virtually for the entire day on very limited food. So things that affect stuff like soreness are recovery, hydration, food, all that kind of thing. So it's really sore. And that actually brings me to another point of something you didn't see. So you might have read Ant's book about like the water bottle thing. If you haven't, read it. Very interesting bit. So we got told off for not having our water bottles full straight away. We didn't realise they were supposed to be full to the top, but they were. And then after that point, all of us were so terrified to have a water bottle that wasn't completely full to the brim that we like didn't drink, which is insane. Like we would not, just because we were scared that we'd get caught off guard and he would have a go at us for not having water. which made us more dehydrated and obviously recovered less. So anytime we wouldn't even bother drinking out of the bottles for most of the time unless we were ordered to, and then when we got back we would drink out of our cups and stuff out of the bigger bottles that we had, because we had these like big like canister things that we could take water from. So yeah, we just leave it in the bottle just so that we wouldn't get in trouble, just in case we were told to get outside like that and our water bottles weren't full. Yeah, so as you know, we had very little food, but there was this like moment. I remember the first time we had a cube of cheese, and you know the struggle is real when you're that happy about a cube of cheese. It was about this big, but we were like over the moon. Some people like kept it in their pocket, some people chopped it in half and saved some for later. I just honestly put the whole thing in my soup and like just sat full 5 minutes of heaven just eating this piece of cheese. But yeah, it sounds completely mad, but that was just how starved we were. So we were on about 800 calories a day, so we were just really hungry, and that cube of cheese was just heaven. So another kind of activity that you didn't see is that we did like the boat ascent, which you saw us climb up the like back of the boat though. If you imagine this is the boat, we climbed up that side, but we also actually climbed up this side, but we like raced, which was really cool. And one thing you didn't see is me and Ellie got to race up the boat, and we had like Ant and Foxy and everyone screaming at us like, who's gonna be the faster sister? It was so funny. Yeah, it was really cool, and the race was really close. I won't give away who won. I might do if you ask me in the comments below, but yeah, I'll keep that one to myself. But it was so exciting. I love racing, and I kind of wish they'd shown that one. They didn't show that, but as I've said, they didn't show, there's a lot they didn't show. So never assume that everything you're seeing is everything that happened, because that's not it at all. And obviously there are little twists in there as well. Like obviously my storyline on the show was about my past abusive relationships, and I had actually never talked about that before. And the interview that you see, so the bit where you see the activity happening and then we come on screen talking, that bit is filmed before the show. In the interview before the show, I hadn't said, obviously I couldn't have known what was going to happen, but it looks like when you watch the clip I'm talking about what's happening, but I'm not. So I'm not talking about what's happening because I couldn't have done, because it hadn't happened yet. So a few of my sentences actually were like stitched together, so they film you for 3 hours. So you say so many different things, everything under the sun, so they can just take like extracts of that and put it together to kind of wrap it around your story, which again, so that I think that might help make more sense around the way the stories are told in the show. One of the sentences that I said, I literally didn't say. So they stitched together every single word of that sentence, which I found a bit mad. And that's something about TV that really blows my mind. But it makes me think like the people on normal reality TV shows experience this all the time, so that must be super weird. Oh yeah, and one last thing, like I was just thinking about food actually. So the night before we left, we got to pick, like, we went to a hotel and we got to pick anything off a menu, and I was really weirded out by a lot of people. We weren't allowed to talk to anybody else, but we were sort of listening into what other people were ordering, and me and Ellie sort of communicate through facial expressions a lot of the time. But some people were like ordering like really low carb food. They were like being really healthy, like, oh, can I have like loads of veg, and like, can I swap out the potatoes to something else? And I was like, I want steak and chips with sticky toffee pudding and like as much carbs as you got. I was trying to like carb load, and I know Ellie was too, because we knew that they were going to take all our food away from us. And I'm like, why are all these people not eating carbohydrates the night before they're going to starve us? That's just mad. But maybe they had some sort of idea behind it. And then, so some people think there's like an after party. There was no after party. When we left, I got, they were a bit worried about my mental health because I was spinning out. I was like, I don't know why I left. I'm not really sure. They kind of told me that I was one of the best there, and then they cut me out of the blue. So I was spinning out. So they kept me in for like 24 hours of observation in this like lady's Airbnb. And she was like my nan. She was lush. She like made me flapjacks and gave me water to like bathe my feet in. She was amazing. But yeah, and then so the night I left, they like cobbled together all the food they could find in this hotel, which is like Rasse, like the only one there. And I had like sausage and mash. It was so good. And then the lady that had been looking after us, she went out and got me literally a carrier bag full of chocolate bars, and I ate most of them. I was over the moon. So that is pretty much it, or all I can think of that I haven't told you about my SAS experience. But if you can think of anything else you want to ask me, leave it in the comments below. I might do some more videos. I think I might do, I'm not sure if I want to do this, I might redo the fitness test that I did. Obviously I trained really hard for it, so I might do it like not training for it, but we'll see. I do want to do more like SAS style content, so if you want to see that, then obviously subscribe to my channel. I also do a lot of CrossFit stuff, so if you're interested in how I train and how I did train to get on the show, then also follow me on Instagram, because I post a lot of my workouts there, and then you can subscribe to the channel here. I do have an ebook out which talks about how I trained, and it gives you all of the workouts that I use to get fit to get on the show. So if it's something that you want to do yourself, then you can buy my ebook. I'll put the link below. But awesome, I really like doing stuff like this. I love doing videos on SAS because it was an incredible experience in my life, and I do like talking about it, and I like giving you guys the insight because I get a lot of questions on it, and it just gives me a really easy way where I can answer all those questions. So thanks for watching, guys, and whatever you want to do, if you want to get fitter physically or lose weight or improve your mental health, you have got this, guys. I believe in you. You can do it.